Hi, today I'll be presenting a topic on the general concepts in science, technology, and society. So I'm Herminio, so let's proceed. Now, we have to define first what is a science. We have to remember three things here. Number one, science as a system, a philosophy, and those who are doing science. Now, as a system, it is the system of knowledge of the natural world gained through scientific method. Take note of the term scientific method. And it requires research for us to establish or a scientific inquiry in order for us to establish that a certain knowledge is a kind of scientific knowledge. So when we see a system, it is a kind of knowledge which is ordered and arranged. It is in sequence. Therefore, it is not chaotic as we try to know it. Now, when it comes to the philosophy, science is defined as the philosophy of the natural world. Anything we see that surrounds us are in the fields, in the realms of science. Those things that are not tangible, that could be in another studies. It could be under the studies of religion or of theology. Now, take note, way back in ancient times, people who do science are sometimes they called philosophers of nature. That is why Democritus, who proposed a theory on atoms, are sometimes called also a philosopher, being a scientist on nature. The next term that I would like to introduce to you is the term technology. We have to take note of the origin of the term. Technology comes from the two Greek words techne and logeia, wherein techne means art or craft, logeia, or it could be also logos, which could mean a subject or a study. Now, for logeia, it could be subject or interest. So combining the two, when you say technology, it could be the study of arts, or it could be the study of crafts. It could be a subject matter of related to arts. So that could be technology. So if you try to look at the definition of technology, it is somewhat very, very practical in nature. That is why when we go into the studies of technology, we will not forget the term practical. So therefore, it is a practical applications of what we know about nature using scientific principles for the betterment of human situation. Take note of this, the technology is not for the doom, it's not for the destruction of humanity, it is for the best of humanity. And then the beginnings of technology is quite prehistoric in nature, meaning to say that it started way back then, long time ago, before the invention of writings. Because when we are dealing with history, take note that history is, when we try to define it, it is a written record of the past, which is handed down from generation to generation, written chronologically. And that could be history. So therefore, if it is not written, if it is an oral, it is oral tradition, that could not qualify based on that definition. So therefore, uh, prior to the invention of writings, there is some forms of technology which is later we will have to discuss, which is very ancient. Then let's go to the next. Now let's go to the how technology is being applied throughout times. Now, prior to the prehistoric times, very ancient times, we have at least here five different technological advancement, starting from transportation, followed by communication, weapons and armors, engineering and architecture. Concerning the transportation, how they managed to do so without maps or compass. Well, in ancient times, they used to look at the stars. They try to look to see the sun during daytime. And remember, if we are in the equator, when the sun rises uh, in the morning, it will be at the east, and when it sits, it will be at the west. And that could be the idea. That could be the the hypothesis of the people. Later on, it became the theory that the sun will always be like that. But out from that, they use such understanding, and there are also stars that will tell them where will be the north, south. So during the night time, they can still navigate. They can still go wherever they want to go, or and even during the day, they can try to see the sun, and they can still go wherever they go. So this is the technology of navigation, and they gain this knowledge through constant observation. And this is what we call the scientific inquiry. When we try to be uh, very very keen in observing the natural world. Then of course, weapons and armors. Why? During the time, people are just staying in the savannah. They just be staying in the forest or an open field without protection. So therefore, animals are stronger than the Homo sapiens. Therefore, weapons and armors is a must to protect them from the beast of the field. Another one is engineering. Engineering is quite complicated because it integrates all other needs of human beings, just like the need for security and safety. So coming up of a house on top of a tree, plus putting up a roof out from leaves, even that is so simple, but that is technology and that is engineering. Another one is architecture. Architecture, just like the Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, that kind of of a temple, a stone monoliths. Even that is very very simple, but it was done prior to the invention of writing. Thus, it changes how we look at human history. This tells us about the style of the people, how the signs of their advancement. So architecture is not just simply a simple infrastructure, but it tells how people during that time lived a kind of life. So it tells a style and some forms of their advancement. Now let's go to the Sumerians. The Sumerians have so much contribution in the ancient times that we ponder upon on their inventions, on their technologies. One is the cuneiform. Cuneiform is the writing system which uses symbols, shapes to tell us something about some information or a message. Another invention is a city. Before, people are nomadics, people just go around, do hunting and gathering. But the time of the Sumerians, when they stayed along the Fertile Crescent beside Tigris or Euphrates, they invented a kind of cooperation and socialization where they can gather a mass number of people, a huge number of people, and bring out a city. And these cities needs a more concrete facilities, infrastructure, and out from this, they were able to invent the bricks. Of course, in the Fertile Crescent, the most materials that they can found are not stones, but of course only clay beside the river, and of course some reeds, some grass, and then they mix it, and they have bricks. Just like in the Old Testament, in Genesis chapter 11, the time of after Noah, after the global flood, uh, the descendants of Nimrod, the great hunter of the Lord, come up with the Tower of Babel. And if you try to look at the, the entire chapter of Genesis chapter 11, you will see that the Tower of Babel is made out of bricks instead of stones. It is made out of uh, of asphalt instead of a concrete. So take note of this. The invention of a city makes another invention, which are the building materials for a more concrete, for a more stable housing facilities infrastructure during the time. And again, as we have talked about the Tower of Babel, we have the ziggurat. The ziggurat is not just an architectural structure, but a showcase of a religious output. Now take note, during the time in the ancient Near Eastern civilization, there are things that is recorded in the ancient Near Eastern texts wherein the ziggurat, or the tower that people built during the time, um, symbolize a link between the divine and the humanity, that during the time when they have the tower, when they built the ziggurat, they believe that their gods will come down through the tower and come down, join them, and bless them. That may be the understanding of the builders of the time of Nimrod, wherein they try to build the Tower of Babel. But what happened is, it is contradictory. God came down and confused them. God babbled them all. And then another thing is irrigation and dikes. As they have the city, the population is getting bigger and bigger. Hunting and gathering is not anymore viable for sustenance. So therefore, they come up with better agriculture practices, a better uh, uh, cropping, farming practices. So irrigation is the best way, bringing the river, the water from Tigris and Euphrates to supply and water their farms. Also dikes to prevent flooding. The next thing is sailboats. During the time, people will have to carry using human force, but the Sumerians were able to utilize the presence of um, the natural things around them, like the river, the Tigris and Euphrates, wherein they have the sailboats, that it can be with the use of wind. They put sails, and then the boat will just float and then move along the Euphrates and Tigris rivers. Now this one is a kind of invention that facilitates not only transportation but trade, because they can carry heavier loads, um, the byproducts of their improved agricultural practices. They can carry it along anywhere in the empire, or within the city. So it facilitates trade. Another one is the wheel. It helps also transportation and milling, and the plow, agriculture, and the mass production. Before, they just do it manually, but now they can cultivate the land with the help of beast using the plow. Also the roads, it facilitates a faster and more efficient forms of transportation. So let's go to the Tower of I mean to the Babylonian civilization, wherein we can have the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon shows a not just an architectural marvel of their time, but also in our times, but also a showcase of a religious practice. Again, as I told you, that in the ancient Near Eastern civilization, that a tower, or a tall structure, could mean that God will connect with humanity. And I guess that could be also the idea of coming up with the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, wherein they have to beautify the tower, the tall structure. Um, that's why we have the Hanging Gardens to you know to invite the gods to come down and bless them. Now let's go to the Egyptians. The Egyptians has so much to offer as for the modern civilization. Number one, aside from the Sumerians, the Egyptians invented some forms of a writing system, through hieroglyphics, and then they use from stones. They use some forms of a paper. We call that one the papyrus. Also, the Egyptians invented aesthetics and cosmetics. So they were the first civilization known for a wide array of practices concerning the use of makeup, wig, and other forms of beautifying themselves. But for them, cosmetics is mainly for health and aesthetics, just like wearing a wig, where they will have to use it to cover themselves from the sun. It is more of health purposes rather than just simply beautifying themselves. Another one is the ink, because they use some forms of paper like the papyrus, although not a kind of paper that we have now, because it uses a kind of grass, the reeds along the Nile, press it, compress it, thus making it like a paper. But again, instead of engraving using stones, they found out that ink is much efficient as compared with other forms of materials in order to write on the paper or the papyrus that they invented. Okay, next is also a water clock. The Egyptians were the first to, or known to, to invent some forms of a timekeeping device. This timekeeping device, they call this one the clepsydra. Now, after the Egyptians, we have the Greeks. The Greeks is known for their invention of the alarm clock, another timekeeping device, and a water mill. Then the water mill is used for, of course, food production, for mass production. It's a form of a very simple machine. And then we have the Roman civilization. The Roman civilization uh, invented and introduced the newspaper. This is a kind of invention, the kind of technological advancement that disseminates information faster. Imagine before they call this one a gazette, that that they could have send information daily throughout the empire. It facilitates the Roman Empire, the government itself, to disseminate information faster. Also, they invented book binding, and we call that one the codex. This is a very good way to make a record keeping. Also, the Roman architecture, it's a marvel of engineering and architecture. We have the aqueducts, we have the Colosseum and others, temples in Rome. And then the Roman numerals, which is so fascinating because it facilitates communication, a form of counting system, and record keeping. With the vast numbers of the subjects under the Roman Empire, they found they found the best way to make recording faster by inventing a counting system, and that's what we are even using now, the Roman numerals. Now let's go somewhere east, the Chinese. The Chinese are known to be the one who invented silk. Now this is their contribution in the way we do our clothing and fashion. Also, the tea production. Chinese invented something in the field of the beverages and drinks. Also, for protection and security and architecture and engineering, China was able to come up with a Great Wall. And of course, this is so famous that even when we go to the moon, we can see the Great Wall. And then the last one is the gunpowder, which is latter very important in weaponry, and of course it is utilized for security and of course protection. Once you have the gunpowder, you have the, the firepower, and it can deter attacks from your enemies. Now let's go to the Indian civilization. I guess this is very unique for the Indian civilization. They have come up with a technology of health and wellness and medicine. We have yoga and Ayurveda. Yoga is a kind of health uh, and wellness exercises with with your mind, with your body, and with your spirit. That's how yoga is done. And Ayurveda is, of course, kind of health and medicine practices that utilizes some forms of minerals, elements for healing. And second to the last, we have the American civilization. combining the Olmec, the Mayan, the Aztec, and the Incas. One very unique, of course, is the pyramids. Of course, we have the pyramids of Egypt, but the pyramids of this, among these four different American ancient civilization, the Olmec, the Mayan, the Aztec, and the Inca, the commonality of these groups of ancient civilization is their pyramids. And these pyramids connotes three things. One, it could be engineering, architecture, and religion. You will see the marvel of how they come up and built these pyramids. The styles of their life is seen through these pyramids, but as well as their belief. And I think one of their belief is the belief of the the god of the sun, and human offerings are done in these pyramids. The last one, of course, in our region, the Southeast Asian civilization. The ancient Southeast Asian civilization is known, okay, for their abilities to cultivate, number one, the rice. So we are known for a very good cultivator of rice way back even in the 3rd millennium BCE. So thank you for listening. Have a good day, everyone. See you and subscribe.